Ooh.
And I like what TNC go for. They go for the NP next, along with Bane. So it's likely we're seeing our NP core, and now very likely that it is going to be an Enigma core as well with the Dawnbreaker Bane supports. It's still rather interesting, right? Like you pick the NP into Dusa. Dusa feels like a natural foil to NP in the fact that she can clear out the treants, she can deal with a split push down the line, she can just feed off those treants when they do show up in lane. But you have that aggression now. You can just globally TP in, have the Dawnbreaker jump on top of you, and just force a fight that way if you want, especially once you have some early items up on the NP. Execration for their part into the Beastmaster. And that can lane pretty well against Nature's Prophet. You could just opt for, say, the Wild Axes build, clear out the Treants, do some good damage on the NP as well, and just be aggressive from there. It gives them a good BKB piercing stun for the Enigma, and just kind of handle that black hole. So you're really going to need that Link into this game here for TNC, and it does allow Execration to actually get some tower push as well.
Certainly does. I wonder, like, it feels like there's so much emphasis being placed on making sure this Enigma cannot black hole. Like, you've got 3 stuns now, plus Stone Gaze. Stone Gaze actually going through pretty much anything you throw at it, so no way to block that. If you do manage to kind of press that R button before the black hole does come out, you're going to be rather happy as this Medusa. Though I wonder if it's worth focusing this much on the Enigma, because we've seen this before. You know, a draft revolving around making sure you can stop black hole, and then, you know, maybe you don't even see a black hole in the game. You just don't care, because you just kind of rotate around the other heroes that you've got within your draft. I guess we'll see. With the Medusa as well, is it a good pos 1 right now? Like, we saw it from, I believe, Talon yesterday, and it ended up working for them. Though that was 23 Savage, to be fair, and that's a specialty hero for him. I wonder if it works out this game. Like, TNC Predator, they've still got an option for a mid hero to pick up. It'll be interesting, this draft. Or rather, this game altogether, I think will be very interesting, especially for Execration. Because I feel like their last draft was rather, I don't want to say simple to execute, but it does, we've seen it so many times being run, and it does feel rather simple. I guess it kind of goes for this style of draft now as well. It's a very simple draft from Execration. Plenty of stuns, and stuns generally win you games, but what I'm trying to ask, John, is it outdated, this draft?
I don't think so. I think it's still a draft that you can execute on. It does rely on you to play your win conditions really well. I think that's what we lacked from Execration last time. Like, they had this overwhelming farm on Bob. They couldn't find an angle to actually use that gold really well. They kept getting caught off guard. They weren't the ones really initiating there. It was mainly TNC. They had no good aggression coming through because they had a mid TA, a safe lane Kunkka, off lane Marzi. There's no real good way of getting a strong initiation to start a big team fight in comparison to Krish with Mars. So I think they will need something on the off lane here for Tino to kind of dictate that game. Again, you've got the option for maybe something like the Pangolier, which has been left in the pool. And that could be one way to get that done. There's nothing to really stop it. I mean, there's the Bane with grip, but then you're gripping a Pangolier, which will leave the Medusa free to do what you want. So there's a lot you could do. I said Pangolier, but you do have a Beastmaster already for Tino sort of lined up. So maybe looking for something for Bob to kind of initiate on. What does he have left? He doesn't have his Batrider. Maybe something like a Lesh. Gives him good wave clear. Lots of AoE damage. Not much to really stop him. The Nyx is on your side. Could be an option for Queen of Pain as well to get a jump in. Just to instantly clear out the creep wave as well down the line with the Sonic Wave and the Ags if the Nature's Prophet does become an issue. And generally does win out in mid. So we'll see what they choose for Bob. I think that's where a lot of these issues have to be fixed from the mid. Something, like you said, something aggressive, something that can jump in, set the pace. Sort of like what TNC does with the Dawnbreaker combo. And for TNC, Krish heroes, I mean, you could probably just go for, say, a Spirit Brother right now. Match the mobility for your NP, trettering around the map, play with a Dawnbreaker. To go with a Weaver instead.
Wait a minute.
So, what are we? I want to say Yoa Weaver, Krish, NP. Are we seeing a mid Dawnbreaker? Maybe?
Oh, man.
For Krish?
Look, I know I've been talking a lot of trash about Dawnbreaker, Don. Trust me, I love this hero myself. I think it's a very fun hero. It is not a good mid hero. I mean, that was the original thing, right, with Dawnbreaker. Is everyone thought this is a mid hero, apart from, you know, the initial POS 3 Dawnbreaker that was meant to happen. Let's see. Krish does take the MP. Okay, I think that's actually better. I think that's actually better. Though I must admit this draft does look very confusing. Bok is going to take the pulse 3 Enigma. Carlo back on onto the Dawnbreaker. I like the Sand King pickup here from Bob as well. I think it's a nice way of dealing with the Nature's Prophet. Great D push on top of the D push you already had. John, what is TNC doing with this draft? I'm trying to explain it, but to be honest, I don't even think I know what's going on with this draft anymore.
They have good team fight now with initiation from Sand King. It kind of holds the lane against NP pretty well once you hit level 3, level 2 Sandstorm. We're going for a 1-1-1 build, or a 0-2-1 build could be a way as well. Just kind of looking to clear out the creep wave, build a farm up. NP can't really stop that. It's going to take some sentry investment as well. And I think the idea for Execration is just hit this early point with Bob and Tino. Start running down. You have good supports to kind of join in these fights and start an initiation. That you just kind of apply pressure on the map early, buy space out for Palos, and just run down objectives with the Beastmaster down line. So it's kind of a counterfoil to their first draft where they wanted to stall the game out with a TA, take their time, go for single target pickoffs. This time, they've got team fight, and they can still stall for their Dusa. They don't need to stall for much if Palos gets enough room. And we've seen that, again, you mentioned Savage, but when he does hit early timings on his Medusa, and I think Parker said this as well, Medusa's not necessarily late game here. You get Manta style Scotty, you're pretty much done. And most Medusas that can find farm find that within 20 minutes. So there is still a bit of an early timing for Execration to play with, and the rest of their draft kind of collapses on that well.
That it does, John. See how this game number 2 does go. Of course, TNC 1 game ahead here against Execration, but I think Execration, I don't want to go as far as saying they won the draft, because again, I'm having trouble understanding exactly what TNC are planning to do here with their own draft, but it does feel to me as though they've won this draft here, Execration, but we'll see. So we do go into a very big 5-man smoke from Execration into the Radiant Triangle. See what they can get done with this.
The pattern is complete!
For now, they're going to find nothing. It seems like TNC are very well aware that there might be a level 1 team fight coming, and, well, they just hug the tier 1 mid tower. It's good game sense here from TNC.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I think they realize as well that they don't have the best level 1s here from TNC in comparison to Execration. They have so many stuns, they have the arrow threat to follow up. There's a lot of damage that can come through. It'll just lead to a little bit more of a passive start. You do see at least Bob walking up to the high ground, checking for the ward. Doesn't quite really find one. See if they trade or commit for any of these runes, though.
The battle begins.
TNC, Mavis. He's not going to try and fight too much. Doesn't even skill up the Nightmare. Obviously wants the brain sap for the laning stage. Bit of a lane swap as well here, John. TNC, they're going to throw Carlo down to that bot lane along with Yoer. Tino will be on that Beastmaster, of course, and Shanks will be right behind him on the Mirana. I actually don't mind this switch up, though. I think the Dawnbreaker Weaver is a stronger lane than the Dawnbreaker Enigma. And it can be quite devastating as well once you get some points up in Swarm. This could be a very challenging laning stage for Tino and Shanks.
It can be. I feel like Tino going for the Wild Axis first, maybe expected to deal with Nature's Prophet. We already saw Krish pick it up, so maybe expected a lane swap as well. Though great arrow. Let's pin down Yo, and he is very susceptible to that, but as you mentioned, aggression can come out from TNC as well. Go to Starbreaker Yushuchi, and it's a lot of damage that can fly up, especially once the minus armor is up. If you do want to go that route, it can be easy to melt through these heroes. No natural arrow connection for Shanks to play with. No boar for the slow as well to simplify that. So it can be a bit tougher to maybe look for that early start here for Execration.
Well, top lane, Palos Vincenzo trying to move in here onto Bok, already doing so much damage to Mavis. The one thing is, right, like, Bok's maybe going to have a bit of a difficult time as Palos. I don't think we'll have that many creeps denied away from him. Vincenzo so far doing a pretty darn good job of holding back the Bane and making it a 1v1 matchup between Palos and Bok. John, is there a stage where you think either team starts to take over this top lane?
I think the Deuce always just has a good time no matter what you do. You deny off the creep, sure, but you have the split shot, you've got the Mystic Snake. They bounce onto the Eidolons, get some good damage off. This is where I personally would prefer Dawnbreaker up here, because you can at least play with Malefice kill threat along with the Starbreaker. You could try to commit onto a hero. The Bane literally does nothing. He walks up, he brain saps, tries to threaten. Vincenzo does a good job of cutting him off.
Bot lane, Carlo able to secure first blood already. Sadly, we missed that one on camera, Jonathan. My fault, but as we said, the aggression from this bot lane should be able to pay off here for TNC, and you can already see the Mirana kind of suffering, even with those leap charges. Still going down as now they're going to try and punish Tino. They won't go for the Starbreaker though. Tino going to be just fine to walk his way out. Seems like TNC will be very happy with the way Yo is farming on this Weaver right now.
He's having a great lane. I don't know if that's worth the sacrifice of giving Palace a really good lane as well. Again, there's only so much the Enigma can do here. Bach should still be able to find EXP, but you don't really have a threat with Malefice. You Malefice up and then what? You Nightmare afterwards, you have Nightmare first, and then Malefice afterwards. Brainsap tried to run someone down. It's not particularly good in keeping Medusa down, and Palace is just pulling the creep wave all the way behind his tier 1.
Yeah, Tino's gone, John. Like I said, the swarm comes out, it's just too much damage. You've got to consider that just all physical damage coming up from TNT down this bot lane. It's very hard to survive with that minus armor on top.
Yeah, it is a lot of output. And Tino, again, he went for the Wild Axis build. He goes for the Inner Beast next. He doesn't have any threat with boars. Mind you, they are very susceptible to Yoa just cooching around as well and getting a couple of right clicks off. So there's not much he can really achieve there. Yoa is finding that extremely strong start. Shanks gonna have to be a bit careful, and again, the kill threat, it's just not there. Playing with Wild Axis build here for Tino, no boars means no slow, means no setup at all for the arrow. And the slow is not even the highest setup, as you see a bit of movement onto mid here from TNC.
Gonna show up. Bob, nice little Burrow Strike away, is not gonna drop. Krish still controlling the lane very well here in this mid lane, but Bok, he's still doing a very good job of keeping up. As bottom lane, looks like we have more problems for Tino. Yoet will be able to secure another kill onto the Weaver. Meanwhile, mid lane, Bob is gonna be able to survive. But very tough times here for Execration during this laning stage thus far.
They're really working that early aggression out from TNC. Just having so many options to play with here. Bob does opt for the 1-2-1 build, so again, a bit of a balance in trying to clear out the creep wave, but Krish has the sentry down. No counter sentry out from Bob yet. So every single time he'll go for, say, the Sandstorm play, he's just shoved away, and he will find a D-ward now at the least, but it does take so much investment, and Krish is feeling great. And one thing with the NP as well, Krish, he can start to teleport around the map if he starts to get some items up, is working towards the Orchid. So once that's up and running, you can expect those ganks to come in from the mid once more.
Top lane, they're going to try onto Palos here. Just a bit of chip damage away at the Medusa. Mavis still going. Bot, he does have another Maleficent 1, but he is lacking the mana. About 30 mana, so chances are he's not going to have it in time. Had they had the Malefice, perhaps that would have landed a kill top lane, but so Vincenzo is going to be just fine. Palos still farming decently well on this Medusa as well, so I suppose the one saving grace right now for Execration is the mid and top lane are going stable, I would argue.
Yeah, it's going well enough, I think, as long as you're mitigating your losses on Medusa and kind of getting a strong enough start on your Sand King. You're still going to meet some early timings here to still get that build up on the Medusa down line. Remember, the timing we're looking for Palos is around 20-minute mark with Manfiscottis right around the items you need. Mavis going a bit forward here, is trading with Vincenzo quite nicely.
Malefice is there, Vincenzo should just drop and does. Bok able to take a kill on the Enigma now as Mavis may get punished by Palos, depending on how far he can chase, but Mavis does eat the Fairy Fire and is going to be just fine as Palos, of course, on the Medusa, somewhat unable to finish off the kill, though the Mystic Snake is going to reach, but Mavis! Oh, he's going to die to the creep. Oh, the range creep just wouldn't leave Mavis alone.
Yeah, that creep is an assassin, man. Chases you all the way down, gets the last right click off, and Palos finds something for his trouble. Still a very, very strong start for TNC. Dropping a Bane isn't the biggest deal. You're getting a good shove in down bot. They're still keeping Tino down. Working slowly but surely onto his Dominator. A long ways off. And Yo is just feeling great. Level 6 already in comparison to Tino at 4. Hitting 5. A nice level advantage already.
Got Palos, John. Nature's Wrath out. Palos knows he's not going to survive. It's just way too much damage. And Krish, great timing. Pops that Nature's Wrath. Comes top lane. Wants the tier 1 top tower. And it looks like he's going to get this one for free. I doubt there's any contest here with Execration's draft.
It's the one thing with TNC's draft. It's an NPN Enigma. You can get a push really, really fast here. There's not much wave clear yet from Execration to deal with that. Sand King's not quite ready to go up there and put his body forward. He might be able to catch more.
Yeah, Vincenzo gonna go for a run. Should be okay with the brown boots up, but Mavis gonna try and cut him off here on the Bane. Nightmare range not quite there. Vincenzo still running. Should be just fine and will, as Carlo even shows up, but they realize he's probably run down south. They won't mind too much though. Again, they got the top tier 1 tower. They can start focusing on the mid tier 1. It's very bad for Execration now because Tino's going to want to push this bottom tier 1 tower down soon, but when you try to get that started, either you're going to get punished for Tino, or they're going to start pressuring the mid tier 1 tower here with the Nature's Prophet. It's going to be very challenging to be able to get the bottom tier 1 while having to defend the mid tier 1.
Yeah, they're kind of split up on Execration's end. Of course, you're also trying to just get space out for Palos, so you need to get the attention away, and it looks like TNC's just not really fully allowing that. Bach is still holding the top lane, Mavis has a haste, Nightmare at the ready, and just poke at Palos.
They haven't got Means Rip, and they've got a black hole. That's more than enough, surely. Palos out of mana. Mavis still going, though Vincenzo now showing up as Palos is still fine. He's going to walk away, so the Brain Sap's not going to do anywhere near enough. What a shame. I thought they'd get through him, but they didn't have a +1 on the way. Meanwhile, oh, Bok, actually, he's just fine. He's just farming right now. I thought they'd have a +1 coming in to follow up on the black hole, but apparently not.
Just a bit too confident in the damage out, but they still managed to build up Nioh, and they catch Palos again.
Yeah, but Mavis has no mana. Had he had the mana, I think he may have gotten that, but he won't be able to get it done yet. Krish, in the meantime, though, while they're doing all this, is setting up for the bottom tier 1 tower now. They got Tino down. Poor old Tino, he's having a very rough game as expected. And now, with the bottom tier 1 tower dropping, Execration, they're still focused on trying to keep Palos alive here, but Palos still juggling around. His mana shield is at least going to find Bok. So they'll get something for all this trouble. Problem is, they are going to lose another structure.
The bot lane opening up, not the biggest loss. Their triangle is still an area they can defend well enough. Big issue here for Execration is just how slow this game is for Tino. He's, again, gone for the Wild Axis build. The presence of his spores aren't the best. He does have the helmet up at least, so he can get a nice creep for himself and try to push through with that, but we're not seeing any of that early aggression out from Execration. Their lineup still needs to wait for a little bit more. Blink is up and running on Bob, so they could try for the Burrow Strike initiation with the Epicenter at this point. It's still not done with the Epicenter on cooldown anyway.
Bok. Bob rather. He get chased down. Yo, wait, he's got so much damage right now. Bob. Oh, that's a massive kill. The mid Sand King. He's going to drop for nothing, John. Mavis, he might go down, but he won't mind this. In fact, he's not even going to go down. Just walks right in the entire jungle, surrounded by 3 heroes, and just walks out. They just can't deal with it.
For Execration, it just feels a bit disconnected here, Mike. I think the ideal right now is you play with your 2 supports, but they don't really have level 6, so no Moonlight, no Vendetta yet to get some scouting. You'd want to play with, say, the Impale plus Arrow, try to jump on top with 1 core, and that's how you get your aggression off. Now the push is coming out from mid. Lots of damage already done onto the mid tier 1. TNC doesn't fully commit, they just back off, seeing the rotations in from Execration, and just go back to farming. I think, all things considered, I mean, it's 7-2 with a less than 1k lead for TNC. Palos is still finding some farm. And you're actually not lagging too far behind here on Bob, who will go for the smoke play now. Again, with Epicenter at the ready with a blink, they could start to get a regression going.
Gonna try, but Mavis, great positioning on the main, is gonna break the smoke and Execration. They'll find nothing. Desperate times, and you know what, John? I'm starting to really enjoy this draft from TNC Predator. You know, I was doubting what they were going to get done with this, but so far it's been really good. Just clean play from TNC. Top lane, Bok. I mean, he's on to working towards his Blink Dagger now. Johnny's having a great timing on this Enigma. Vincenzo might be able to spot him out with this Vendetta now. They do have a Sentry Ward around Bok, and he seems to know the Nyx Assassin is here somewhere. They'll both TP out towards the bottom side where they were trying to hunt down Krish, but the Solar Guardian gonna save the day, and now Bob, a sitting duck, tips out from Krish to rub salt into the wound. Jonathan?
Execration just aren't finding anything. They feel really disconnected. They're not connecting together as a team. They're getting very deep all by themselves. Shanks now.
Yeah, nice nightmare out. He does have to leave charges and would try to abuse them, but they've got so much damage. All tier 1 towers are already gone, John. TNC, they're going to start playing towards these tier 2 towers, and for Palos, he's only got a Yasha up so far. He might still be the highest net worth on the board, but it is a Medusa. He needs a lot more time, and Execration, they've got to find a way to buy him that time.
They need to start playing together as a team. I'm surprised you're not smoking up his tree. You know, play with Vendetta, play with Burst Strike, play with Arrow and Epicenter, and just kind of connect from there. Tino's also been really passive on the Beastmaster, just holding the bot lane, getting some farm up, trying to recover. Should be able to have that full helm of the Overlord soon. So the threat of an Ancient creep down lane is going to be up and running sooner rather than later, but it feels like some of that early presence to their lineup can give them from Execration's end is not being met. They are still, again, buying space for Palos. They're keeping the network rather even. They're taking the action away from the Medusa. But they need to be cautious about the scaling of their other heroes here as well, especially Bob. This is not the kind of game you normally see Bob play. You know, he tends to love to snowball, and he's just not getting that early start he wants.
He's not. And I think things get really scary once Bok has the blink up now as well on this Enigma's top lane. They might go again. Krish is here with an Orchid up onto Mirana. They should have enough damage to eventually get this done, and they will. Shanks is going to drop. And TNC, they're not ready to push down another tower yet, but they seem to be ready to take more kills.
Radiant's courier.
Question
has
is
been
where?
killed.
Like, I don't know, TNC have such great control of the map because they're threatening with that teleportation from Krish with the Orchid up. They can just jump anywhere with one hero on top, get the Solar Guardian on top as well if need be. Execration, I don't know why they're playing so split up. Like, you've got Mirana, you've got Nyx. These are very active supports. They're not connecting together. They're not connecting with their Sand King, not connecting with their Beastmaster even for any kill threat. And it just allows TNC to play this way. They are doing a good job of buying space, but it's coming at a huge sacrifice from their other heroes. Mavis now just going for a solo smoke is broken at the very least. So they cut off the Bane trying to get some D wards down, but it just doesn't feel like Execration's playing to the full potential of their lineup. Mind you, maybe once they get some items up, that's when we'll see the commitment, but look at Krish, he's still aggressive.
Can they get a stun though? Not quite. Nice TP out from Tino. Void getting ganked up for the billionth time this game. He'll be dying 3 times here for Tino as the top lane. They were trying to make a move onto Bok, but they aren't going to be able to catch him either. Bok does back off at the right time. It's great news though for Execration. They are buying plenty of time for Palos to keep that farm going. He does have the Manta up now, working towards that Eye of Skadi. Now onto the Nyx Assassin, Mavis. Setting up, Vincenzo in trouble, but Nightmare was taken by the Prophet, so they have to go for the Fiend's Grip. Not something they wanted to commit, but they'll take it.
They find a kill again, to just oppressing the side of Execration. I think at this point it looks like Execration's really just playing stall, sacrifice your supports, get some farm up on Palos and Tino.
Krish is caught out. This will be a big one. Solar Guardian is there, but it's not enough. They land the arrow from Shanks, and now Palos, he thinks he can take the fight. Can he though? Yoe, right on top of the Medusa. Sakuchi away with the Nightmare to keep him there, but they do take the Nightmare off as Yoe still trying to find a way back into the fight. He's going to Sakuchi around, but is not going to make the dive in. Bob will protect in the front lines, and that's going to be enough for the Medusa to back her way out. So even without the Prophet, they are still struggling to force a big team fight here, Execration. I suppose that is to be expected. It is still a Medusa that still needs a lot of time. They'll be happy with the Prophet kill, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's still, again, interestingly enough, even though you have this 11-3 kill lead for TNC, it looks fairly even. Execration, if you look at the...
Krish. Oh, Krish. Just respawn. Tips are out. Execration. No, he's made a massive issue here, and suddenly Execration, John, they're starting to look like the better team.
Yeah, it's lining up. They're finally starting to connect together and playing aggressive. You look at that win percentage here, Mike. 78% for Execration. Wondering what the odds are like. It's 11-4. It's very deceptive. The lead has never grown beyond 1k for TNC, and I think that's been keeping Execration in the game, just managing to get that recovery on Tino and keep things even. Now they've got the first 2k lead on the board. They take that bot tower, and we're reaching that 20-minute mark, Mike. Once the Deuce starts to creep into that Scotty point, things get really scary for TNC here.
It does. On T2 tower. Bob, gonna go for an epicenter. We'll cancel it off at the last second though. Just pump faking. Tier 2 tower is gonna drop. They'll try for a deny and they won't get it. Bob is able to take it himself. So even though they found a kill onto Krish twice, they still managed to get a top tier 2 tower basically for free. Mind you, Execration has already gotten the bot tier 2 tower. Execration, I mean, slowly but surely, they are going to start feeling a lot more confident moving in this mid lane now. To go after this tier 1 mid tower, and they're going to find it. Carlo, he'll be around, but he cannot defend this any longer. In Execration, again, I think they can slowly start moving and being more aggressive themselves.
Yeah, they've got a lot going for themselves. They feel a lot more secure with Adusa here. Again, 11-4 2k lead for Execration. Their win probability is now at 82%. The odds must be going wild because it's just bouncing around. Although,
yeah, Bok gonna jump in. Mavis is gonna get taken down. Palos and Bob will be very happy with that as they start to move into the tier 2 mid tower. TNC, they're gonna try and pressure top lane instead, but in the meantime, Palos with this double damage rune is gonna take a very easy tier 2 as now the jump is in after Bok into the backside. Bob catching out another arrow is actually going to land, but he's already onto the high ground. They won't go much further. They just want the tier 2 mid, and they'll take it. Execration. Clean gameplay here. But they do have to defend that top tier 3 tower, but that's fine. They'll be happy.
They're clearing out the map. They're getting the build-up they need. They're starting to... Again, they're connecting as a team. They're playing around with all their chain stunts that they can get out. The patience from TNC has been great, and considering that Bok has only used the Black Hole once, I've been very patient and just waiting for the BKB, and now TNC will go for the smoke play. Yo is up front, Maelstrom up, no BKB just yet in the Weaver. Can be a bit tough to keep yourself alive here, but you might be able to find a nice kill.
We go again, Vincenzo. Gonna get caught out here on the Nyx Assassin. Not the biggest kill in the world here for TNC, but it's a start. Janx. Be able to set up an arrow. TNC might slip that outpost instead. Of course, the side of Execration have already taken that Radiant outpost for themselves.
Could try to set up for that next Roshan now. They've got the damage up if they want to go with Yoe, but they're going to play it safe. It feels like both sides have a really good fight in such a confined area. The side of Execration are still staying relatively clumped up as well. Still looking to move together as a unit. And we will go for that smoke play out now. Roar at the ready, every single ultimate at the ready for Execration, so they can try for a pickoff play. Issue is, TNC is on the right side of the map. And they are holding high ground right now with Mavis as well. So cutting through here for TNC, for Execration is going to be pretty damn tough.
It certainly will be. Execration. Thinking about Roshan now. Won't go for it though, Palos. He's just pushing out the top lane right now, and I think he wants to wait towards his Eye of Skadi before he does go ahead and pick that up. Meanwhile, TNC now the ones in the back foot. Yoe not farming quite as much as this Medusa, and even if he is a Weaver, he's still gonna have a few problems going into this late game. TNC. Be sure you've always got the Enigma, but again, they've got great ways of piecing that black hole. Even if you do get the BKB Lincolns up, you're always going to have a way with that Stone Gaze. And, well, there's your Eye of Skadi now. Palos picks it up immediately, right into the Roshan pit. TNC, they're the ones who need to find a way to fight this.
Yeah. And They're smoked up. They've got a good access point into pit. Again, they have pretty decent team fight there if they find a good angle for Black Hole. Relying heavily on Bach. Moonlight is there to break off though.
Bob brings forward. Roshan still dropping here to the units of Tino's. Again, TNC, they've got to make a play. Nature's Wrath will fly through. The trees are still giving vision. Where are they though? Roshan dropping way too low and they're not going to make it. Just a bit of indecision here. And instead they'll start split pushing the other lanes. But if you're Execration, you're more than happy with that trade.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we talked about the timings of the Deuce, right? It's right on my prediction, Mike. It was around 21:40 when Palace finishes up the Scotty with a Manta and even having Dragonlance on top. So, you know, we're at that point where Dusa, this is the mid-game spike for the Dusa. She feels overwhelmingly strong. She's got a good 5k above Krish and Yoa in terms of network. One full item above. And it doesn't feel like TNC's ready to deal with that. We've seen them be very patient. We haven't seen Bach use a black hole. Not until his BKB is ready. We've not seen progression on Carlo this time around. He does opt for a pipe instead of rushing the Ags. So he doesn't have that early presence with the Solar Guardian, the evasion coming in to protect. They've been much more willing to go split push with a Weaver and the NP and just try to stall. I just don't know if the stall game's going to work. Because even if you have this threat of Black Hole, we've been talking about it, but Stone Gaze cancels that off entirely. BKB or not, Lincolns or not, if the Deuce just presses R in the Black Hole, it doesn't matter.
Top lane. Oh, this could be a big one again. Krish currently being stalked here by Vincenzo. Bob going to TP in immediately. Krish not reacting yet, not realizing as the Solar Guardian is going to buy him a bit of time, but Palos will get right to work. Krish still in trouble. Will get the Nature's Wrath out, but surely goes down and does. They'll get Vincenzo, but it's not worth the trade as tips are coming out here from Bob. TNC will get chased down for more. Palos more than happy to force the fight. Even with the Aegis up, it seems like TNC is still going to try his box jumped in, but he's caught nothing. Oh, he's caught absolutely nothing. They had the Stone Gaze anyway. Bob, he's still being chased down here by Yoe. They'll take him down, but Palos takes down Bok.
Yeah,
I think Execration, they're still happy.
That was rough to watch, Mike. That Black Hole on literally nothing. I mean, that's the first Black Hole in a very long time we've seen from Bok. That's his first BKB use as well. It's just kind of falling apart now for TNC. Execration, again, they're working together as a team really well. They're breaking up what TNC wants to do here. They've done a great job of, again, sacrificing their early game to secure this mid-game. And now it's TNC that feels like they're in a really awkward spot. They're constantly going out, they're constantly trying to smoke, make a play, but it's just not lining up.
Tino not able to get the roar off in time onto Yoed. They've got Mavis at the very least, so the Bane should drop here, and it seems like they've got him. Krish respawning, but unable to help. Tino, he's still got the roar up, still looking for that Weaver. Nothing to block his Bok. Great initiation in from Bob on the Sand King, and they've got the Weaver down. He might have to buy back here. They do need him for the team fight. The T3 tower is going to be under siege by Palos, and well, they can slow this down as much as they want, but it's going to be rather hard to stop unless they have their carry Weaver. Execration. They are not intending on stopping either. Krish is not around. He's not there to defend. It doesn't seem like they want to buy back on their Weaver either. So Execration, they might just keep it up.
I mean, why not? They've got the Aegis for a minute and a half as well. Very well protected on Palos. And they still have that Stone Gaze at the ready in case anything happens. No Black Hole to threaten as well, not for a full minute. So a lot of time for them to just do what they want. Just no contest from TNC.
Certainly is not. Wow, Bok ends up going down top lane as well while all that was happening, John. So Vincenzo able to set up another kill here on the Nyx Assassin. It's TNC now. Trying to play the ratting game.
Yeah. They need a little bit more in Krish to really be the true rat. I think I'd like to see a Meteor Hammer at this point. Just teleport onto tier 3s or onto objectives and just drop the Meteor Hammer with your Treants and your Greater Treants and back off. And eventually those objectives will die, Mike. So that could be the way for TNC to force even more issues. Get a Meteor Hammer in Krish. He's not going for it. He's the smart player. He is going for the Maelstrom for wave clear. but you're losing a lot of ground. Yoa playing really aggressive. Forced the time lapse back from Bob trying to get the stun off. And Execration with the mid racks take and start to pressure that bot lane. There's still a tier 2 up top to protect TNC. But the question now stands, what do you do about the Dusa? I don't think you have a lot that you can do to her. Again, it's still very reliant on Bach to, I want to say catch 2 in the black hole. If you catch Dusa plus a Beastmaster, that's your ideal, because those are the 2 threats to your black hole. You catch them in, you can maybe follow through with Solar Guardian, and if the Medusa's not dead, you can try to grip up afterwards. That's kind of the chain of events that need to happen from TNC, and that's a very specific circumstance there, Mike. It's not something that will just present itself from Execration every time.
It certainly won't, John. Very, very tough times. Execration continuing to push in that bot tier 3 tower. Vincenzo doing a great job of just hunting down Krish, or rather Yoe at this time around the top lane. Vincenzo, though, going to back himself out, doesn't want to be around here alone. And Krish only level 16 on the Prophet. Definitely terrible news. I was going to say, the one saving grace might be the level 25 mark where you have the no TP CD, but that is not going to be the case. It's going to be a very long time till he gets that up. Execration, like you compare Palos, for example, on this Medusa, almost level 23 now. Only getting bigger and bigger, and it just starting to feel like there's an XP issue going on here for TNC now.
Now they're just not able to take any of these engagements. While they were ahead, Execration managed to find some big kills and bounce back that way, and it's been their way ever since. They haven't had that access point to clear out, at least the split push from Krish is working out. Look at that bot tier 3 here from Execration down to 116. So one more little shove from her NP will open up a threat on that bot Rax at the least. And that is one way for themselves to keep it in the game. Force a response, take some objectives, try to work the map as best as you can, and just eventually hope that Bach can get the angle he needs to take control. Palos, though, full Daedalus up, so if you thought you didn't have enough damage before, he certainly has it now.
Bach to make the jump in, would not throw out the black hole though. Tino still fine, and now the immediate TP's out. They want to force the fight. The Roar is going to reach from a mile away. There's an Aether Lens up on Tino, so he's got so much range available. And now onto the Bane they go. They'll find another. Mavis going to drop. Execration, they should be able to get another tier 3 tower out of this. And there's really nothing TNT can do to stop this at all.
They lack their big black hole. At the least, it's not the longest cooldown or not the longest respawn in the world, so he's going to be back up in a timely manner, and the buyback is there if need be. The bigger issue is no Bane buyback. No grip to follow through from anything in the defensive fight. They're going to have to surrender another lane of racks. Mega Creep still a bit of a pipe dream for Execration. Top tier 2 still stands, so they're not going to be able to go for that full set of Mega Creeps just yet, but the 2 lanes of Super Creeps are probably more than enough to keep TNC suppressed in their base. Krish is still trying to do what he can. He can still line up for that split push on the bot, try to clear out the tier 3. Execration's gotten what they came here for. Roche, we'll see the respawn timer in a few seconds here, and that'll dictate where they go. 2 minutes left on Roche, so not quite the fastest. Some time for TNC to free it back and maybe plan for that high ground defense. They can't really take the fight outside in the tier 2 unless Execration overextend. And considering how well Execration's played this latter part of the game, I don't expect them to give any openings to TNC.
Roshan, not up yet. They are checking. Double damage available right now, but they'd love the Roshan first. Doesn't really matter though, Bob. He's going to hand the bottle over here to this Medusa. Talos is going to have that double damage bottled up, and TNC, this could be a terrible team fight for them to try and force out. Yoe underneath Hawk Vision as we see. Bob is going to find him. Roar is out. Nightmare going to juke out the arrow, but it may not matter. They've still got him held down, but they are going to get him. Yoe is going to drop as they'll look for more now. No buyback available on the Weaver. Carlo is going to TP out, but I can't say the same for Mavis. He's going to drop. 2 down with that buyback. They'll go for a bit more now. Solar Guardian committed. They need Krish alive. Bok, he gets a 4-man black hole, but where's the follow-up? Tips out for Bok. GG. At least he gets it in the end.
Gets it in the end. You know, he's been very patient with his black hole. So he finds an opportunity. It just doesn't line up. And TNC, they had a spectacular early game going, 11-4 at some point. But the kills they were finding on Execration weren't the biggest. They maybe found a couple of kills on Bob, found Palos the 1 time or 2 times, and Tino multiple times. But they never pushed the advantage. TNC just didn't manage to siege onto the tier 2s fast enough. Execration still had a ton of space for Palos coming out from that sacrifice. And eventually they start to connect. They play with the arrow combinations with the multiple stuns they have. Palos gets his Scotty timing at 2140, runs down. And for TNC, it just felt too patient. And again, you had great tools here in Execration to break up everything. You had the Nyx to counteract the Solar Guardian from Carlo, to counteract the Black Hole, having Bach have to work towards a BKB, being extra cautious with its spell use. And in the end, I mean, the Deucer just counteracted it really well. Like, you just Stone Gaze and nothing Bach can really do.
Well, with that, John, we are going to head off to a short break once again. And of course, we're going to be back here with game number 3's draft between TNC and Execration. Hopefully, if there's no server issues, in about 10 minutes. We'll see you then.